Commercial casting sessions, getting that advert that pays for your new car. When a commercial is to go into production, a casting director is employed to get a pool of actors ready to be seen for the roles. She will go through her category files, or computer records, and choose up to a dozen or so actors for each role. She will then call the various actors' agents to book the chosen few for the casting session, and they in turn will contact their clients with the encouraging, "I've got a casting for you. We recommend you arrive at least 10 or 15 minutes before your call time, because you will be asked to fill in 1 or 2 forms and you might be given a script to study or a storyboard to look at." Always spend as much time as you need on the script and get familiar with it, even memorize the lines if possible. Leave the forms until after the session if necessary. You will probably meet up with actor friends in the waiting room. Try not to engage in chat with them until you have read and absorbed the script. The forms will require you to give phone numbers, including your agents, and measurements, in case you get the part. Always have these handy in a notebook if you cannot remember them, and update them when necessary. If you are unwilling to state your exact age, give a range of a few years on either side of the real thing, or just leave it blank. If they want a photograph for their records, you should try not to stand square onto the camera, but to turn your body to the right, then look back at the camera over your left shoulder. It is amazing how much more flattering this is, and you can do it quickly and easily. The casting director or her assistant will be at the session, and there will be a camera operator. That could be all. The actual director of the commercial might or might not be present. Remember that the client will have a very firm idea of the type she is looking for, and will probably not recognize any of the actors who turn up. She has very little idea of what an actor's job is or the process you have gone through to get this far. She sometimes asks very naive questions, which you should regard as very intelligent ones and answer them with the greatest of respect. Grovel, whatever works. The first thing you are usually asked to do is say your name and agent's name straight to camera, then turn to give left and right profiles. Sometimes they like a close-up of your hands or a full-length shot, or both. All of this you do willingly and cheerfully, but please don't add silly business or comments. It is simply to identify you. When they ask what you have done recently, never make up credits. You could be found out, but you can slightly exaggerate things if recent credits are a bit thin on the ground. The question is usually asked so that they can get on camera the real you being as animated as possible. As they are not seriously interested in what you have done, would they recognize it anyway? They simply want to see if your personality fits their requirements. Just as you have made some effort to dress according to the brief, it is also quite a good idea to bear in mind the type of character they are looking for and present that in your reply. Have a really good anecdote ready about a fairly recent job, and spin it out for the amount of time they usually allow for general chat. This should be enough to fill the, "well, actually I've had rather quiet year" slot. If there is a script to look at, you will have an idea of the storyline, but the person conducting the session will usually give you a brief synopsis of the situation anyway. Then on the command action, you act. After a couple of takes, that's usually it. It is slightly less advantageous if you are sent in with other actors, as a couple, or as part of a family, as you can be judged on group physical characteristics. You also might have to depend on the others being good at improvisation, if that is what is asked for, and being compatible with your style. If there are just 2 of you and you are asked to stand or sit side by side, try to get yourself on the other person's left side. You will then be on screen right, which is the strongest position. Let's hope that they have not read this book too. Please the director by being technically efficient. Do plenty of reactions, but do not overproject vocally. Bear in mind that the client, who will have the greatest contribution in casting the commercial, knows precious little about acting, but is looking for the right type, the right look, to sell her product. She can see only what is on the screen at the audition, which includes the identity and chat bit. So put as much of the character as you can into those bits of the recording too. If the client is at the session, you should play the character all the time you are in the room. Difficult, but her imagination is often limited. The more castings you go for, the more chances you have of being the right actor. If you do not get it, when you were so right, it was probably for some quite trivial reason. In the end, the person who gets the job is the person they wanted with the right look, and if it was not you, then it was not you. Lucky for somebody else, now they can get that new car.